Sheikh Mubarak Abdullah Al-Jarrah Al-Sabah was a member of the House of Sabah and one of the first Kuwaitis to attain the military rank of Lieutenant General. He was one of the first Kuwaitis to be commissioned as an officer by the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst, UK, and the first Kuwaiti to receive an Amiri Decree for appointment as Chief of the General Staff. Mubarak initiated joint training of Kuwait Armed Forces and United States Armed Forces in 1977 and, the following year, was the first military officer to establish conscription. Early life. Mubarak is the son of Sheikh Al-Jarrah Abdullah II Al-Sabah, the first Minister of Education of Kuwait, and Sheikh Munira Ahmad Al-Jarrah Al-Sabah. Military career: Directorate of Public Security Force and Kuwait Army. Mubarak joined the Directorate of Public Security Force as a lieutenant during the period in which the Directorate included the partnership of the Kuwait Army and split in 1953. The next year, he was appointed as the first Deputy Commander of the Kuwait Army. Kuwait 25th Commando Brigade. In 1960, Mubarak founded the Kuwait 25th Commando Brigade, the first designated principal commando mission initiative of Kuwait prior to the forming of the first government of Kuwait. Operation Vantage. During Operation Vantage, a plan for the defense of Kuwait, Brigadier General Mubarak and Colonel Salah Muhammad Al-Sabah commanded the Kuwait 25th Commando Brigade and the Kuwait 6th Mechanized Brigade. Following the crisis, Brigadier General Sheikh Mubarak debated with the HM's British Armed Forces on different deterrent strategies to protect Kuwait. A team of British military experts assisted him in organizing the Kuwait Armed Forces, liaising with the British Armed Forces for training. Mubarak acted as commander of the newly formed Kuwait Armed Forces for 2 years. Later he was promoted to Major General and designated Kuwait's first Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces in March 1963, reporting for the first time to a minister following the formation of the first cabinet on 17 January 1962. Six-Day War. In June 1967, the leadership of the Kuwait Armed Forces, from the principle of Arab solidarity, participated in the Six-Day War with other Arab countries, against the State of Israel, on the request of Minister Sheikh Saad Abdullah Al-Salim Al-Sabah. Mubarak, along with his Deputy Chief of the General Staff Brigadier General Sheikh Salah as acting lead combat commander, assembled an elite task force from various combat units, designated the Yarmouk Brigade. Accounting for a third of the Kuwait Armed Forces, it deployed to the Egyptian front on May 29, 1967. On the morning of June 5, 1967, the Yarmouk Brigade came under fire, forcing its dispersal. The brigade, intact, regrouped and remained at the Egyptian front from 1968 to 1972 during the war of attrition between the State of Israel and Egypt that started, unofficially a week later, 1973 Samhita border skirmish and October War. Ongoing Kuwaiti border disputes with Iraq since Operation Vantage left the majority of the military of Kuwait on alert, deployed all around the Kuwaiti desert. In 1973 the government of Kuwait, mainly Minister Sheikh Saad Abdullah Al-Salim Al-Sabah under the guidance of the Emir of Kuwait, asked Major General Mubarak to assemble a task force to militarily aid the Arab armies deployed on the Syrian front. Similarly, out of the same principle, redeployment of the Yarmouk Brigade engaged on the Egyptian front in 1973. taking into account the previous 1967 and current deployment of the Yarmouk Brigade on the Egyptian front. He and his deputy assembled a stronger striking force which was designated the Al-Jarrah Force, which consisted of infantry units, special forces, tanks, artillery, air defense systems and armored brigades. This force was assembled in the Kuwait 25th Commando Brigade and deployed to Syria in two parts on the 15th of October 1973 with an air component and the majority of the force by land on the 20th of October. The force gathered in Damascus, and was initially in charge of protecting the capital. The Al-Jarrah Force later supported the Syrian and Egyptian armed forces on the Egyptian and Syrian front of the war in October 1973 between Arab forces and the State of Israel, known as the Yom Kippur War or October War. Mubarak Saleh, and the acting lead combat commander of the Al-Jarrah Force, led these Kuwaiti forces, in alliance with Iraqi armed forces, while at the same time battle-readying the remainder of the military of Kuwait on the Kuwaiti borders due to the Samhita border skirmish. Joint drills of Kuwaiti and United States Armed Forces. In 1977, Mubarak Abdullah initiated the first joint drills of the Kuwaiti and United States Armed Forces. Lieutenant General of the Kuwait Armed Forces in 1979, Mubarak was promoted to be the first Lieutenant General of the Kuwait Armed Forces. He retired from the military the next year, the first officer to retire from the Kuwait Armed Forces. Mubarak Abdullah joined Command and Staff College. The Command and Staff College was established in 1995, and named the Mubarak Abdullah Joint Command and Staff College in memory of Mubarak Abdullah in 1997. Honors and Awards. Kuwait National Honors. Arab and Non-Arab Honors. Neck Order of the U.